All right. Zach, the Zack Attack, we are back. This one's going to be short and sweet. Our last episode went a little bit longer, sometimes, I guess that happens. It happens every once in a while. Yeah. But Lead with Empower podcast is back. We are on the 2026 side of things. Did 5 episodes in 2025 at the tail end. We are recording episode 2 of the new year. If you missed it, episode 1 of the new year focused in on this concept that can help us control the controllables and put ourselves in the best possible seat to achieve what it is that we want to achieve during the new year. This one, Zach and I are going to take a little bit of a lighter approach, right? So 15 days, 20 days into the new year. And if you are somebody that's looking for something fun to do, whether it be with students, athletes, your office team, whatever it might be, you are going to get, in a short period of time, you're going to hear from Zach and I. We are going to share with you our favorite icebreaker and a quick little, here's how you do it tutorial. So hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you find something that you can put into practice at your respective location, whatever that might be. And also know, I believe we both picked activities that require not a lot of equipment. So very easy to replicate. So Lead with Empower podcast, episode 7, second one of 2026. We are going with the favorite icebreakers. Zach.
Of course, I'm going first.
Take it.
So I love this icebreaker for several different reasons. But before I name it, I know one of the reasons is because I personally love playing it and I love being a part of it. So I think that's a selfish end of it. But you didn't specify like what icebreaker.
Yep, favorite icebreaker, open-ended.
That's all you said. So I'm gonna say it. So it's my favorite for that reason. It's called group juggle. And to explain a very quick way to do so is, let's say you have 10 participants or 10 people in a group. You put them in a circle, and you can have either a tennis ball or a foam ball or a dodgeball or whatever the participants are comfortable with.
Yep.
My favorite is tennis ball. And I'll throw it as the leader to one person across the way. They catch it, and as the icebreaker, they have to explain a couple of things, whether it's how long they've been in the sport or at this job or in school or whatever the case is. Maybe something silly about themselves, maybe their favorite superhero or favorite book, favorite movie, whatever typical ice-breaking questions or answers that you want to hear, you can choose. So very open-ended that way. They then throw it to somebody else across the way. Can never throw it to the same person, so a different person each time, and they have to try to remember who they caught it from and who they threw it to for their first round. Of course, this is explained at the beginning. And then it goes so on and so forth until the last person catches it that hasn't got the ball yet, and then it comes back to me. Awesome. So it sets the precedent of learning a little bit about each other. It's not a fast-paced activity. It's very slow. And then my favorite part about it is that you get to throw things. I like throwing and catching. So like I get to play with the ball. This activity. But I've seen this. This is level 1, so round 1, and I've seen people like get super excited to catch it, like don't know who they're going to throw it to, and then learn more about each other. Even people that have worked together for a long time learn more about each other from the questions that they're answering every time they catch it. And then I have a fun little time. I was like, okay, somebody raised their hand. Everyone raised their hands if they remember who they caught it from. Like, who'd you throw it to? I'm like, okay, point at them. Boom. And you see a bunch of arms go out, pointing to the person. Like, okay, cool. And then I bring out a second ball. And I'm like, all right, so we are going to do the same exact thing, and you're going to catch it and throw it to the same person, except I'm going to throw the first ball. A few seconds later, I'm going to throw another. And then it goes on from there. And I'm not sure how many levels you want me to talk about here, Dan, but that's essentially the icebreaker that I love using.
Yeah, no, great. Group juggle is a fan favorite. So like, as Zach said, the level 1 part is the pure icebreaker. Every time a person catches the ball, we typically ask them to say their name and then some sort of prompt. As Zach touched on, the facilitator or the leader, the teacher, whoever it is, they're the one that starts each round. So like Zach would say, hey, this first round, it's like your name and something fun you did during the holiday break. Yep. Oh, next round, your name and your favorite snack food. So as the leader of it, you can do as many rounds of this icebreaker version. And you can have some fun prompts or some more serious discussion prompts. But I would always say when you do this, build from simple to complex, right? For the discussion prompt. Like don't ask them like first question, like coming out swinging, like what's your deepest fear? Right. And then
go ahead.
I was just going to say to piggyback on like, it's important that they like the pattern you create in round one is replicated every time you do the icebreaker version. So the icebreaker version is one ball. Every time a person gets the ball, they're saying their name and something else about themselves. Exactly. And you repeat the pattern. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about a deeper level of group juggle, I just kept it surface level like that. That's the fun part. But if you want to get into facilitating stuff and some empower leadership stuff, is like we ask, okay, let's say someone drops the ball accidentally. Okay, well, why did we drop the ball? Like let's talk about it. Like, oh, I was looking at the first one that was going around and not ready for the second. I'm like, oh, okay, but like, let me ask you this: Can you right here, eye contact? Can you always catch a ball when I throw it to you? Like, yeah, I'm never gonna miss.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to worry about in this game? I guess the only person throwing it to me is one person. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna look at this entire time? The person that's gonna throw it to me. Okay, let's do that. So eventually, I get to the point where like, if you understand that you're doing one job, you're catching it from one person and you're throwing it to the same person that you threw it to last time, this game's gonna work just great. And then we can get into, okay, I'm gonna add another one. I'm gonna add another ball. I'm gonna add another ball. And I've gotten to the point of like, let's say a group of 20. I mean, I'll be honest, they were athletes, so their hand-eye coordination was good, but they kept to their role. They understood like, okay, I only need to focus on this one thing, and that was the lesson in this particular group juggle activity. They got up to like 12, 13 balls with 20 people or 18
Yeah,
people.
which is absurd.
And like at that point, as a facilitator, I need to pay attention too. I'm like, okay, like where's this ball coming from? I have to catch 15 balls and put them in my pockets for this to work. But again, this is the selfish end of it. It's really cool watching 18 people in a circle with 15 balls going all over the place. It looks like organized chaos, and the people love it too. The participants are like, damn, yep. This is quick. This is cool. When individually you're doing just one thing, catch, throw, but it's happening 15 different times in a row, and it makes it really fun.
Yep. And you have to have that discipline to not get sucked into the distractions, which are all the other tennis balls flying through the air. I'm like, I know Zach's throwing it to me. Everything else doesn't matter.
Gotta go. Yeah, exactly.
I love the activity, and that was one that was on my list of I could potentially choose. I think back to we did this when we worked with the Connecticut Sun basketball team during their All-Star break.
Yep.
This was like our opening engager activity, and it was cool to see because these are professional athletes.
Yeah.
We did the icebreaker version, and some of them are like, "Oh my god, this is so stupid." Which is, we typically face some of that stuff in pro. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. As soon as we added a second ball, and we put like a lot of times we'll do like 3 strikes and you're out. So if you drop, if we're trying to do 2 at the same time, we drop it 3 times, we're done. Yep. We move on. To see this group of athletes go from like, this is going to be the longest 2 hours of my life to locked in, celebrating. Yeah. And it was really cool. I know you got some really good footage of this when we did it. But it was so cool to see them go from like withdrawn to like laser sharp focus, like they were in the middle of a game trying to juggle 5 tennis balls.
Yeah, and like
it was sick.
I think it wasn't just the coordination of it that was cool. They started talking and communicating as if they were playing on the court.
Yep.
They were like they were yelling at each other's names. They were saying like making sure that the person was open and ready. Good, go.
Yep.
Like it was like an orchestrated machine at that point. And then the girls, I don't know if you saw this, but like they started doing like trick shots to each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it worked, like, because
Yep.
that's what they do for a living. So it was kind of cool to see that flair to it, but to see that change from like what my favorite animal, like what's going on, like maybe not that elementary, but to all of a sudden, okay, now this is an activity I can get behind was a buy-in for us to them as well.
Yeah, 100%. So group juggle, again, simple in concept. It's a at its core, it's a basic icebreaker activity. Throw the ball, or catch the ball, say something about yourself, toss the ball to somebody else in the circle, and then you could build in this level 2, which is multiple throwables getting juggled by the group at a time, and it tends to become a nice little lead-in activity around like, what's my focus? What are the distractions? Right. And how do I have the discipline to stay away from what's distracting and just really lean into Zach's throwing me the ball. I don't need to look anywhere else. Yeah. What I like about this activity too, especially for people that are in like education, teachers or coaches where they're seeing the same group of people kind of day in and day out, it's an activity where you can do it more than once. So like the multiple ball group juggle in particular. Hey, last week our group did 4. We juggled 4 objects at the same time. On Friday, we're going to try it again, see if we can get to 5. Right? So not only is there this icebreaker purpose, but it's also something that you can reuse, and because they're kind of trying to compete against themselves as a class. And even the icebreaker version, like if you have a big exam coming up, like maybe you do one round where everybody has to share their name and how confident they're feeling going into this project or this exam. So just a good opportunity, because it puts what could be sensitive topics or maybe tough to talk about topics, it puts it in the framework of a game, and people are more likely to kind of open up and share when it feels like it's not just like I got to open up and share. I'm not sitting on a couch getting psychoanalyzed, right?
Exactly. And to take a step back from what you just said when it comes to the athletes, one of the things that athletes will do was, what's your record? How many tennis balls into it? And I'm like, you couldn't get through 3 tennis balls going around, and you want to go through my record that I saw of 15? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no. If you can get 3 without dropping one time, we could start.
Yeah. How about we get through our own record first?
Yeah. And like it's funny, you have to kind of slow them down, but that's one of those things where like if they think of it as like toss throw, but you got to practice this to like get to the point of like 15 tennis balls coming around,
Yep. Yeah. So that's the group juggle activity. It is it's an icebreaker that's best for like 20 people or less. Typically, if it's a bigger group, it can get a little bit slow. But it's a great one. And we'll make sure we include a little blurb in the episode as far as some like facilitator notes. So if you do try to try it out, or if you do want to try it out, you'll have some resources to lean back into. I'm going to go with, and again, this is such a tough question. Picking one icebreaker that's my favorite, but I've had some really good experiences with it recently. So I'm going to go with Peek-a-Who. I'm not a
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not a big fan of the name. But it's what it was called in the book that I had in like college when I learned the game. Yep. But Peek-a-Who, it is not an icebreaker that you should do with a group that's like just meeting. It's not like the first thing you should do with a group that's just meeting each other for the first time. Right. So given that we're in the new year, maybe some schools are coming back from break. Obviously, all the students have been in classes for already half a school year. So this is one that's more for a group that's a little bit more formed, right? They know each other. There's some pre-existing relationships. But essentially what you do, there's 2 versions of Peek-a-Who I'll explain. Version 1, you split your group into 2 teams. Team A versus Team B. In between, and then you give each team a little area to kind of hang out in, typically sit or kneel. Then what we do is we hold up a tarp or a blanket, right? So you need 2 people to run this activity, or maybe one of your students or one of your coworkers can help lead it with you. But essentially you have Team A on one side, Team B on the other side, and then this tarp or blanket up between the 2 teams. So A cannot see B and B cannot see A.
None of them.
Yep. And then just a facilitator hack. Step on the bottom corner with your foot, hold the top corner with your hand. That'll prevent any shenanigans because teams will try to cheat in this game. Then you'll explain each team will secretly send one person from their team staging area up to the tarp. Secretly is key, right? You don't want to like stand up because the other team will know who's up there. So kind of sneak up to the other side of the tarp. Once each team has the representative up at the tarp, the two leaders are going to go 3, 2, 1 and drop the tarp. And what you're trying to do, if Zach and I were the two people up at the tarp, I was on team A, Zach's on team B, I'm trying to say Zach's name correctly before he says my name.
Yep.
And if I do that, I win. Zach joins my team. If Zach says my name first correctly, I lost the face-off. I join Zach's team. So even if you win the game, great, you're on your team. If you lose your face-off, you're still in the game. You just join the other team. It's one I did yesterday with like middle schoolers. It's one we've done with like adult corporate groups.
Oh, yep.
And it's with athletes, with college. Again, once they get past the corniness of like the concept in the beginning, it's a hit.
3, 2, 1, drop.
So that's the Peek-a-Who version. 2 teams, each team sends somebody up to the tarp. You're trying to name your opponent faster than they can name you. If you win, you stay on your team, and the person you beat joins your team. If you lose, you join the team of the person that beat you.
I will say, after all the Icebreaker first activities that we've had, Peek-a-Who is one of the top ones that gets people loosened up. Like the tenseness of what's going on with the power, like what are we doing here? What program? What are we going to be doing today? How often do you hear that? What are we doing today? And like all of this of like the uncomfortable feeling. The Peek-a-Who breaks people the most when it comes to relaxing. There's zero pressure. There's zero losing. It's silly. It's fun. It's competitive. It doesn't matter, but it gets people like, yeah.
And what I will say, and again, this is like if you want to just run the fun version, it's just this fun competition. You're trying to name other people. What happens a lot of times, and this is more of a challenge with like more of a challenge with like middle school, high school age groups.
Yeah.
You will have participants who are super hesitant to go up to the tarp. Mm-hmm. So again, the fun version, just play. If you start to, especially if you're running this activity with like a student group, if you're starting to see people like, I don't want to go up to the tarp, I don't want to go up to the tarp, I don't want to go up to the tarp, it's a good opportunity to stop the game. And this happened again yesterday with one of the middle school after school program I was running. There was a handful of people that I noticed were kind of hiding back. So I stopped the game. Hey, real quick, how many people are a little bit nervous about going up to the tarp? And darn near half the group raised their hand. And even some people that had gone up to the tarp a couple times raised their hand. And I'm like, I'm just curious, like, what are you nervous about with the game? I'm afraid I won't know the other person. I'm afraid I'll mess up. I'm afraid I'll let my team down. I'm afraid I'll lose. And so we also use it as a tool if this were to come up to introduce this idea of positive versus negative risk, right? So in this game, nothing bad is going to happen to you. Even if you just sit there and like, I don't know who the other person is. I'm having a complete brain cramp. I can't say Zach. You're just on the other team. You still get to play the game.
Yep.
So we get students to think about it's a risk because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to be on the other side of the tarp. Risk is defined as doing something and we don't know the result. Mm-hmm. A negative risk is when there's a high potential for something bad to happen to you or somebody around you. A positive risk is there is a higher potential for something good to happen to you and the people around you. So, like, what are the negative things that could happen? I lose the face-off and I join the other team. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and like you didn't explain this one, but if you didn't know the other person's name and vice versa, what happens? Just go back to your group. We'll try again.
Yeah, so like there's been instances where the tarp drops and it's two people that don't really know each other. And like, I don't know you, you don't know me. All right, cool. Shake hands, introduce yourselves, and go back to your team. Problem solved.
No big deal.
So we get students, we get participants to think a little bit through this kind of goofy game. Like, yeah, it's okay to be nervous, but like it's also a risk worth taking. Because who knows, you might get the name correct and everybody celebrates. But the worst case scenario is you say the wrong name or you don't know their name. You still get to play the game in, oh, your name's Zach? All right, cool. I got you next time. Right? So Peek-a-Who, that's the stock version. Version. Team versus team, one person from each team at the tarp. Try to name the other person faster than they can name you. The adaptation that is also fun, we and there's no real name for it, but we call it poker face. I call it poker face. And it's simple in concept. Same deal. 2 teams on either side of the tarp or blanket. Now, what we do, so say there's 20 people in the group total, so you have 2 teams of 10. We'll explain, all right, in this version, this is our final version, it's called poker face. Each team is going to choose 5 people to come up to the tarp. They have to sit at the tarp. They have to look directly across to the other team. And they are trying to keep a silent poker face. So straight face, no smirk, no expression, no noise. They're trying to keep their poker face as long as possible. The 5 other people on your team are trying to get the opposing poker face people to make a noise or crack a smile.
Yep. And
you have to put the caveat in. They can do and say anything that is appropriate for the group and for the setting.
Right.
Put that caveat on it. Because if not, you're opening up Pandora's box of things you don't want to hear. All right. But it's so 5 people down, silent, straight face on each team. 5 people standing up, trying to get the other team to break poker face. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 leaders, so if Zach and I were the 2 people holding up the tarp or blanket, Zach's going to watch one of the teams. I'm going to watch one of the other team, I'm going to watch the other team. As soon as somebody, one of the poker face people makes a noise or cracks a smile, you just point at them and they're out. They help try to make the other team laugh. The team that loses all 5 of their poker face people will be the team that loses the game. Yeah. The team that has somebody left poker face is the team that wins the game.
And I'll precedent that you can do this with any age group. It does not matter.
100%.
It is fun with whatever group that you choose.
Yep. And again, in its purest form, it is a fun icebreaker. You're getting people to laugh. You're getting people to be goofy. Subconsciously, they're letting their social guard down and they're having fun.
Yeah.
But it also, again, in the spirit of like, we don't play games just for the sake of playing games. There's also a cool teachable moment in this game. As soon as I explain, 5 of you are going to have to keep a poker face. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's cool because there's another job. So it gets students, in particular, younger students, it gets them to start to think about, I'm part of a team. There's 2 different jobs. There's keep a straight face and be silent, be goofy and try to get the other team to break poker face. I'm really good at keeping a straight face. I should be the person that's a poker face. I'm really good at being a goofball trying to get people to laugh. I should be the comedian trying to. So it gets students to think about, you don't have to be great at everything. You just got to know your strengths and be put in a spot where it's maximizing those strengths.
Yeah, and I've had to help students figure out their role because the sometimes the class clowns and the happy goofy ones want to do the poker face role, and I'm like, you can't even keep a straight face talking to me right now.
For 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds. I'm like, yeah, stop smiling for a second. And they're like, okay, no, sit down. Make the other team laugh.
Yep. And a lot of times, again, what happens a lot of times too is like the people that sign up to be the poker face are generally the students that are a little bit more on the quiet side in their day-to-day. And a lot of times that student from a social hierarchy friend, those are the ones that some people might look at and be like, oh, you're the outcast. You're the one that doesn't fit in. No, they're just the one that's a little bit more reserved and quiet. Yet that person who is never celebrated usually is the one that wins the game for their team. And everybody's like, and they're like, I could have done that for days.
Yeah, I actually have a story, and you were there for that. We did a program for a camp counselor, I believe, and one of the girls was a little on the spectrum, and they weren't They weren't mean, but she was very quiet. People weren't talking with her. Like she you could just tell she was like in her own world for especially the beginning part of this program. And she I could see her quietly like, I want to be a poker face. and she like got down, and like there was a little argument, like little disagreement of like who should go there, and I'm just like, let's give it a chance, let's give it a shot. And it worked out just as I wanted, where it ended up she was the last one
standing. Yeah. Yep.
she beat everyone on the other side, and she was celebrated on her team for being able to do that. And I'm like, I knew she was able to do it, but like it was cool to see that progression of I think I can do this, or like, but I can't speak up about it, so I had to like a little bit be the voice for her, and then she was the hero at the end, you know.
So it's a cool game. It's like I said, it helps people organically kind of let down their social barriers. It can be used to introduce the idea of different roles and how both roles contribute to team success. And I love what we do for Empower, because it's not about who's the smartest or who's the best athlete or who's the most popular. It's really about like who's going to listen, who's going to share ideas, who's going to treat each other well, who's going to persevere. And like, so a lot of those, whether it's students or employees or athletes that don't normally get accolades in like the day-to-day environment, a lot of times those are the ones that shine most in our programs. So like for Zach's example, this is a young student who probably doesn't get a lot of high fives or celebratory moments. She just won the damn game for her team. It was like, yeah, carrying her out of the gym. So, but yeah, 2 simple games designed for some relationship development or relationship fortification, that are also fun and have a little bit of a competitive spin. So we got group juggle level 1, Icebreaker. Group juggle level 2, little bit of a challenge, right? How many objects can we juggle? We got Peek-a-Who, a little bit of an advanced Icebreaker, and then we got Poker Face, which again is a little bit of a introductory problem solving role clarity activity. So again, we'll throw up some words and some language, and we'll throw up some documents in the notes for the episode. But Zach, that was episode 7 of the Lead with Empower podcast.
Oh.
2 dynamite kick-ass icebreakers you can add to the arsenal.
Got it, man.
All right. Thank you for checking it out. Lead with Empower on our YouTube channel and on Instagram. Follow for more content just like this. We'll see you around.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.